As promised, in this video, I want to discuss the Maize and Blues skill position players for 2020. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone who pushed Big Discussions 76 Sports over the 300 subscriber mark. That's, it's still a small channel, but every 100 that you get, in my mind, that's a milestone, and I want to thank everyone who did that. I guess I should first of all thank Joe Milton. I should thank, in a way, maybe I should thank Dylan for transferring. Maybe I should also thank the coronavirus for, laying the groundwork for me to shoot that video on Joe. And that might inch me a little closer to Buckeye Vinny. That's more of my humor. Buckeye Vinny is another YouTube content creator, and he creates content over on the Buckeye side. And maybe one day he and I can do a collaboration. So I'm trailing him by a little bit, but this is not a competition of Maize and Blue and Scarlet and Gray content creators, because we're all fans of our teams and of college football. But it never ceases to amaze me how passionate the football fans are, the college football fans, the Big Ten fans, and not just the Michigan football fans, but also the Ohio State fans who really make these videos pop, and just the comments and the passion underneath the videos. It just never ceases to amaze me. And actually, when COVID hit, over the summertime, when it was uncertain what was going to happen with the Big Ten, and then when they announced that it was on, and then when they called it off, my subscribership had kind of plateaued in the 250 range. And I was thinking, wow. And, I was doing a lot of NBA bubble stuff. And then once Kevin Warren and the presidents came to their senses and, evaluated the data and decided it was okay for the kids to play, I started shooting my Michigan videos again, and subscribership and viewership went like this through the roof. I lost one, and I'm sad that I lost one, but I gained about 50 more. YouTube is not a game that's for the faint of heart. But I opened up this video reading this book, Over Time, by John Eubanks, who is the official historian of the Michigan football program. This book is about 2 years old. This book was released just prior to the Revenge Tour, or maybe after the Revenge Tour season. But I asked my mother for this as a birthday gift, and I read multiple books at a time, so I didn't finish it. I'm trying to finish it now. It's a good read. It's very, very short. The chapters, you can cruise through the chapters, and it's a blend of telling the program's story under Jimmy's leadership, and it's also a bit of a biography of Jimmy's life. So there's a lot about Jim's childhood, There's a lot about Jack Harbaugh. There's a lot about John Harbaugh. There's a lot about how they got to Ann Arbor. And the section I'm reading right now is when Jack Harbaugh took the position out at Stanford and Jimmy got uprooted to Stanford. But it's funny because, there's a lot of stories about what kind of kid Jim was. He was kind of like he is now, kind of cocky, kind of quirky, kind of fidgety, and, just how certain teachers and coaches had to figure out how to harness that. But there's a passage in here that relates to what I just said about the passion of the Michigan fans and the Ohio State fans and the Big Ten fans and college football fans. And it reads, I'm going to read it, these two paragraphs here, if you don't mind. In the professional leagues, rivalries are fueled by the fans, not the players, who have no problem jumping to the arch rival if the money's good enough. As a result, pro rivalries tend to be passing fads based on personalities. When the players who battled in the rivalry between the Detroit Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche in the late 1990s left those teams, so did the hatred between those clubs. I'm thinking of Patrick Roy, and Brendan Shanahan and Sergei Fedorov. I was in graduate school during that time, so those are names that I remember hearing. One of my lab mates made a joke about one of the Red Wings players saying, "Let's party," after they won the Stanley Cup. In any case, so did the hatred between those clubs. Likewise, the finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics in the 80s were classics, but when the NBA tried to market the Lakers-Celtics 2010 finals as a rematch, no one bought it. But when Alabama and Auburn lock horns, you don't need Joe Namath or Bo Jackson to get fans excited. College rivalries run deeper than this year's rosters or records. So when the Cornhuskers came to play the Wolverines, they were not simply competing against this year's model. They were facing everything that has ever transpired between the two schools, directly and indirectly. From fielding Yost coaching at both schools more than a century ago to the 1985-86 Fiesta Bowl, when Jim Harbaugh led Michigan to a victory and a number 2 ranking, to the 1997 national title split between Michigan in the media poll and Nebraska in the coaches poll. So I think that chapter was about the Nebraska game during the Revenge Tour season. So I'm going to jump in here. I know some of you might have gotten annoyed with that little discussion just ahead of the meat and potatoes of this video. So I want to thank everyone who watched that Joe Milton video. And I think part of being a YouTube content creator is being creative, and you have to use some sort of marketing skill as well. And I intentionally asked the question, is he going to be the next Michigan football quarterback to beat Ohio State? I left that open-ended intentionally. He may be, and he may not. They may continue to steamroll us the next 2 to 3 years and send Jimmy out of town. But other people are echoing the potential Cam Newton comparison, which is a lot of pressure on that kid. But if he does have that talent, then that is significant, because I think for that short period of time Cam was at Auburn, he turned them around pretty quickly before he went on to the NFL. But Joe, being the signal caller, is just a part of the puzzle. The question then is, who is he going to throw the ball to, and who is going to be catching his passes? So I want to take a short look at the skill position players, which are our 2020 wide receiver core. There is an article in the Detroit Free Press which I'm going to leave in the description box below so you can read it for yourself. But basically, uh, it's funny, we're losing three NFL caliber stud thoroughbreds in Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Tariq Black. Donovan went pro at the end of last season. Nico decided not to come back, and Tariq just said, to hell with it. I'm entering the transfer portal, and he's going to play somewhere else. But we're moving from that caliber of wide receiver to something else. And I think for what we have, our tallest experienced receiver is going to be Ronnie Bell, who stands at 6'1" or 6 feet, but he's not the size. The net of it is he's not the size of Nico Collins or Donovan Peoples-Jones or Tariq Black. He may be as athletic and fast, but he's not that size. And I'm going to leave the links to all of their bios on the MGO Blue website below as well. So, in terms of the wide receivers, Ronnie is going to be the most experienced wide receiver in the core. And he got lots of minutes last season, and he arguably became Shea's favorite receiver. He racked up a lot of yards, but he only scored one touchdown. And probably his most famous play was the dropped catch against Penn State, to which I think someone, in the student body, emailed him and told him that he should die. That once again speaks to the passion of our fan base. I don't think it's right to tell a student athlete that they should die or that they should kill themselves, but that speaks to the passion of our fan base. So, but the net of it is he's going to be our most experienced target. Under him, you're going to have we have a lot of speed in Giles Jackson and Mike Sainristil. I always thought that was an interesting name. I never heard that name before, Sainristil. But you're going to have shorter, faster receivers. And the interesting thing is that each of them, Ronnie, Giles, and Mike, each only scored one touchdown last season. Now, again, you had, in addition to the offense not being able to get it rolling in general, you had Nico Collins there, you had Donovan Peoples-Jones there, and you had Tariq Black to some degree. So those guys were getting catches. So now it's time for these younger guys to step up and do it and to be it. Now, in the Free Press article, there was something said about a younger kid who is 6'3" and 200 some odd pounds. His name escapes me. His name escapes me right now, but he's in the article. So if that kid develops, we might have a bigger target, but it's going to be interesting to see what the offense is going to look like now with these players. And what's going to happen during the game or in late game situations when we do need a deep ball. Will any of these kids be able to go get it? They may not be able to go up and get jump balls the way Nico did, and that means they will have to outrun whoever is defending them. But what's interesting is with Joe's talent and with Joe's skill set, he might be able to kind of offset some of that so that you have something that he may be able to make up for the height with his own mobility and his own strong arm. So let's keep an eye on that. But we're definitely not going to get what we got last season. Now, oftentimes the tight ends and the backs are talked about in the same discussions, but I'm going to pull Nick Eubanks in here since he is now our most senior tight end. Now, he's also a big target as well, and I think over the last couple of years, he shared time with Zach Gentry and Sean McCune. So now he's the elder statesman in terms of the tight ends, and he's 6'5" and 240 pounds. So if I'm Josh Gaddis and Jimmy, I want to target Nick Eubanks as much as possible. So that's going to be our receiving core. It's going to be a very interesting mix, and I think with assuming Joe stays healthy, because all of this is predicated upon the players staying healthy for our team and for every other team that will take the field. But I think that in my mind, Joe's talent may be able to offset what we've lost to some degree. Now I'm gonna close with this, which is the irony of all of this. So historically, the whole Michigan football drop-off was ushered in with the hiring of Rich Rod. And that wasn't entirely Rich Rod's fault. There were a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes that caused that dysfunction within the program. But when Rich Rod took over, the sentiment was we want to move into the era of the spread, and we want to score lots of points, and we want to evolve with everyone else. So Rich Rod was able to implement his system to a degree. He brought in Denard Robinson. He brought in Tate Forcier. He brought in receivers like Roy Roundtree and Junior Hemingway and Jeremy Gallen and those kinds of kids. It wasn't a run-intensive offense, but we rode with that for 4 years. And then when Brady Hoke inherited Denard Robinson, Brady and Al Borges wanted to go back to more of a pro-style thing. But while Denard was there, it was kind of a hybrid spread pro-style type thing. And then when Denard left with Devin Gardner, they tried to move totally to a pro-style thing. The problem was they couldn't protect him. And so he was always running for his life. And then when Jimmy took over, Jimmy went to almost entirely a pro-style offense, albeit too conservative at times. And he experienced success with that. Again, the play calling I thought was too conservative, especially in the Revenge Tour season and especially down at the Snake Pit. But we went through all those transitions through the years to end back up in a spread offense. So under the leadership of Josh Gaddis. So that's going to be another interesting thing to see, is if Jim keeps his hands completely off the thing this year and lets Josh do what Josh wants to do. And so I'm going to stop this here. In a follow-up video, I have to address the backs and the O-line, and then I'll probably make a video about the defense and throw the special teams in there somewhere. But that's going to be our lineup in terms of the wide receiver core. And I think Nick Eubanks is going to get a lot of looks at tight end. And look for, as a follow-up to this, look for me to remaster last year's, my reaction to last year's painful Iowa game, even though we won that one. But it was a harbinger for things to come later in the season. In any case, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Go Blue! And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. You know, this always happens. I get into my flow, and I don't say everything that I intended to say. So in the middle of this book, there are a lot of nice fuzzy pictures of Jimmy. Here's Jimmy coming out of the tunnel, slapping hands, lots of optimism. There are nice pictures of Jimmy, like Jack Harbaugh here as a young lad himself. Here's Jimmy playing varsity basketball at Ann Arbor Pioneer High School. Here's the entire Harbaugh family. There's John. There's Jim. There's Jack and his wife, and I don't know what their sister's name is, but there are all these nice fuzzy pictures in here. But, you know, my favorite picture is this picture here of Ohio State pinning Shea to the mat in the figure 4 leg lock, or some sort of suplex that was in the Revenge Tour game. Shea went out, he got hit, he got dragged down to the turf, and that's a bit of a joke. You know, pinning Shea to the mat. I talk about Shea a lot here, in jest. Shea was a good kid. I don't know how dialed in he was all the time, especially when Josh Gaddis took over, but I thought that was going to be a funny joke, you know, pinning Shea to the mat, figure 4 leg lock. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to stop here. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.